importance of self-image is the importance of what you achieve in life. Self-image is the key to human personality and human behavior. It sets the boundaries of individual accomplishments. It defines what you can and cannot do. You have to program your mind to know what you want to achieve. Your brain is like a computer and you are the programmer. The first and best victory is to conquer self. 3, 2, 1, action. Hello everyone, welcome to more episode of Pronoia. In today's episode, we're going to talk about self-image. What is it? Why is it so important in our life? And how can we improve our self-image? When I first started learning about self-image, it was when I was around 14 to 17 years old. At first, I started reading inspirational books, but then in inspirational books, they talk about a lot about how to achieve your goals, how to set goals, priorities, and all those things. But something that not a lot of books talk about is self-image, which in my opinion is the most important key in everything that you do in life. That being making $1 million, creating your own business, your own whatever, going to college, whatever it may be. Self-image is the key for everything you do in life because it's the basics, it's the base of everything that you build. So to start about self-image, I'm gonna start talking about this book that maybe a lot of you haven't heard of it. It's called Psycho-cibernetics. It's a book written by Maxwell Maltz, and this book I first learned about it because I don't know if you know a lot of not self-image, but self-improvement speakers or things of that sort. Bob Proctor was one of my biggest reference. He died like 2 years ago or a couple of years ago, but he mentioned this book and I was like, well, I have never heard of this book. A lot of people have heard about the book Think and Grow Rich, the 5 AM Club, Power, the 48 Laws of Power, and all those different books, but this book, not a lot of people have heard of it. So I bought the book and it was very interesting because the entire book is about self-image. So the book talks about this, the author, Maxwell Maltz. He was a surgeon, a plastic surgeon. So what he did is like when he operated people and did like plastic surgery and things of that sort, he noticed something very interesting, which was the fact that when people usually do plastic surgeries because they don't like something about their body and they want to change it to look more attractive, right? So after he did the surgery to these people, he noticed two things. First, some people after the surgery, they didn't change anything. They still thought they were ugly and there was no bigger change. They still felt inferior and insecure. However, the other group who did like the surgery, their entire personality changed. They became like a different person. They were confident. The way they talked, the way they expressed themselves was completely different. So he started studying why this happened. Why some people literally, although they have the physical changes, they didn't change anything. They still thought they were inferior. But then other people, once they changed their physical appearance, they felt confident and they just changed their entire personality. So the book talks about these different things and you should read it. But to start with the podcast and start saying what is self-image, I will read a really short passage about the book. Self-image is the key to human personality and human behavior. Change the self-image and you change the personality and the behavior. But more than this, the self-image sets the boundaries of individual accomplishments. It defines what you can and cannot do. Expand the self-image and you expand the area of possible. The development of an adequate, realistic self-image will seem to imbue the individual with the new capabilities, new talents, and literally turn failure into success. This was a great book to read when I was around 17 years old because a lot of you have gone through puberty or going in that process. And puberty, when you're going from being a child then to a teenager and then to an adult, you have a lot of insecurities. You care a lot about what other people think, and that can create a problem in which that you are so insecure that you don't believe what people say. Even if people say, hey, you're great or you're this, you don't even believe them because you're so insecure about yourself. So reading this book actually helped me a lot to be able to develop a strong personality and the very strong character of saying, okay, I know who I am. And if someone tells me, hey, Caroline, you're so pretty, I will be like, oh, thank you. And if someone tells me, hey, Caroline, you're ugly, I will be, okay, thank you. So neither of the comments is going to make a huge change in who I am, because I already know who I am, right? And this is so important, especially nowadays that we have this social media, that we see supermodels, super athletes with a bunch of money and hyper realistic bodies of like muscle ups and all these different things. You usually compare yourself to them, and you usually become insecure because you say, oh, I don't have that body, I don't have that money, I don't have whatever they have that you don't. So this is really important. And the thing with the self-image is that self-image is built during childhood. And this is really important because we don't really know that we're building our self-image during childhood because we're little kids. And then when we are adults, in the moment that we can change how we see ourselves, we think we don't have any control because we think the life is the way it is. We are great or we're awful people, and that's it. Because people tell you all the time how you are, you cannot change that. It is the way it is. And that cannot be more far from the truth. You can redefine who you are, you can change who you are, and you can become the person you want to be. But first, before becoming the person you want to be, you need to know who you are, what is your mentality, and why you're thinking the way you do. There was a philosopher called John Locke, and during the theories that he explained, one of the things is that he thought that humans were born with a tabula rasa, which basically means a clean slate, meaning that when we're born, we don't know anything. We're just like a blank page. And it's through childhood and through all our experiences that we'll fill out this blank page and it become who we are, right? So a lot of people that we see, that are athletes, that they are singers, that are whatever it may be, those people became that because during their childhood, or because during their experiences, they were exposed to that sport, to that singer, to that different types of lessons, and they became that. But no one is born being a superstar. No one is born being a genius. It's through those experiences and through the dedication mostly that we become who we are. And in the last podcast that I talk about epigenetics and neuroplasticity, epigenetics is the study of how our external factors can change how our genes are read. And neuroplasticity is the ability of the brain to modify itself. You can see the podcast. I will put the link here. But basically, in that episode, I talk about how you can literally change the way your genes are expressed for your benefit, right? And that's the thing. Repetition is the key for everything because that's how your brain is wired. So you have to change how your brain is wired to get different results. So most of us, as I said before, we think that we don't have control over these things, and the first key to have control over this is self-awareness and understand, okay, you have to analyze your childhood and be honest with yourself and say, why I feel these feelings right now because of my childhood. Okay, what event in my childhood made me feel this way, right? But you have to own those things. And I feel like in current society, a lot of people don't like to talk about those things. A lot of people don't like to remember their traumas and things of that sort because I think they're gonna be hurt again. And it's like you cannot overcome a trauma or whatever you're going through if you don't like see it and become aware of it, because you cannot solve a problem you don't know you have a problem. Once you know you have a problem, you have the solution. As in medicine, they say when you have a diagnosis, it's half of the cure because you already know how to, now you know what to treat, right? So it's super important to have self-awareness and say, okay, if I feel this way, it's because when I was little, I did this, and this, and you can modify those things. For instance, when I was little, I was very shy. I didn't like to talk in public. I remember when I was 6 years old, when you go to school and they teach you how to read, I didn't know how to, and I was super scared. And I remember we were like reading all together like a book, and then they will call someone up to read them in front of everyone, and they call me. And I remember I was standing in front of everyone and I was shaking my hand. I was shaking just everywhere, everything, because I was so nervous. And then my teacher tells me, Caroline, relax, we're not gonna eat you, like calm down. And I probably read it, but it took me a long time. But I knew I was very shy and I didn't like that. So I knew I wanted to change it. And the only way to become better at things that we are not better is by doing so. So after that, when I have to present in class, or when the professor was asking for a participant, I will raise my hand, and yeah, I will be super uncomfortable doing those things. By doing that over and over and over again, I become better. The same right now, like recording videos. I know I'm gonna get better and better and better, and it's okay. Of course, I want to do my best, but it's okay if when you start, you're not the best at the things that you're doing. It's just starting to do those things that will make you the person you want to be. But you have to analyze yourself, your childhood, and say why you're feeling insecure. A lot of times, our siblings, a lot of things that we become when we're older is because of our siblings. Maybe you're a little shy because you have a sibling and your sibling is more extrovert. So when you were growing up, your sister or brother were the ones who were talking all the time, and you wanted to talk, but you couldn't because they were taking all the spotlight. And maybe that's why you were more insecure, more shy, or the opposite, right? So it's so important to analyze those things, because you cannot blame anyone. It is blaming someone is not going to take you anywhere. You cannot say, oh, my dad did this, or my mom did this, why my sister did this to me. Not at all. I'm not trying to say those things. What I'm trying to say is, like, look back to your childhood and think, okay, you think you're bad at this, you think you're this because of what? And then think about it.
You is kind, you is smart, you is important, you is smart, you is kind, you is important. Oh, that's so good.
So when I first saw this movie and saw this scene, I was like, oh my God, this is so smart. Because what that lady was doing in the movie, of course, it was programming the little kid's mind. Why? Because it's repetition. The repetition is the key for everything. And that's why it's so important. If you have kids or you're around kids, it's so important what you say to them, because kids' brains are like sponges. They absorb everything, you want it or not. And that's why a lot of times you see videos of kids swearing, and we think that it's funny. It's not. It's really sad, because that's what the kids seeing at home, and they're just repeating it, right? Like they say that a kid is like a mirror of the house they live in, because kids don't know how to lie. So when you are with a kid, they're like sponges. They do everything that you do. So when you say a kid, don't do this, do that, they're not gonna listen to you. They're gonna do whatever they see you doing. And when I watch this movie, and by repeating to your kids, hey, you're smart, you're intelligent, you're important, and all those things, that's gonna get to their subconscious mind. And then when they grow up, they're gonna have a big personality, because they know who they are. If you tell someone over and over and over again, you're dumb, you're stupid, you don't know what you're doing, you're this, you're that, even though those might be lies, that person still believes they're dumb, because they have heard so many times that they believe this lie. And that's why it's so important, the words that you say to others and to yourself, because if you repeat to yourself bad, negative words, you're gonna believe those things, and you don't want that. It's the same for positive and negative. If you repeat over and over and over again, hey, I'm smart, I'm smart, I'm smart, you're gonna become smart. Not by magic, no, it's because your self-image changes. So when you go to class and you hear a professor talking, instead of saying, oh my God, I'm so stupid, I don't understand anything, your brain is gonna be like, okay, yeah, we're stupid, I'm not gonna pay attention. But if you say, I'm so smart, yeah, this material may be challenges, but hey, I'm smart enough. And then your brain's gonna be like, hey, yeah, we're smart, let's gonna listen to what the professor is saying. And then the brain's gonna make those connections with the accents and all those things. So you're actually gonna get the information, not because you're different or you like a miracle happened. It's just because your attitude changed. So now you're more proactive to listen to things and to learn things, because you believe you can do it, literally. So I before mentioned the subconscious and conscious mind. So this is a really, really important key a lot of people don't know about. And again, I learned this by reading a lot of different books, and also by Bob Proctor and Brian Tracy, which are two of my biggest references in motivational, inspirational development and things of that sort, personal growth. So what is the conscious and unconscious mind? And I'm also studying neuroscience, so I love psychology and I love how the brain works. So the conscious mind, as it says, when you're conscious, you're aware of what's happening, right? So your conscious mind is that you're here, I'm watching my computer, I'm talking to people, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm conscious of those things. So your conscious mind, when someone tells you, hey, you're pretty or you're ugly, your brain receives that information, and your conscious mind say, oh yeah, I'm pretty. So it grabs that information and then it sends that information to the subconscious mind. what happens with the subconscious mind? The subconscious mind is not aware of what's happening. The subconscious mind can only say yes or no. It cannot decide. Your conscious mind, you decide right now if you're listening to my video or you go and do something else, right? You're consciously aware of what's happening. However, your subconscious mind is not, right? So right now I'm talking, and you're consciously listening to it, but your subconscious mind is just getting that information directly, right? So your subconscious mind cannot decide if something is truth or not. As they receive the information, they don't question anything. They say, okay. So every time you send a message to your subconscious mind, the subconscious mind reads it as it is. Even though there are lies or whatever, maybe it just receives the information as it is. So let's say someone tells you, hey, you're so smart. And then you're like, oh my God, yeah, thank you, I know. Or whatever maybe. Then that information goes to your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind just absorbs it and say, okay, we're smart, that's it. And now someone says, hey, you are stupid. And that goes to your conscious mind. And then you're like, no, I'm not. So directly, your conscious mind basically rejected, literally just throw it away, that information. So it doesn't go to your subconscious mind. It says, no. But if someone tells you, oh, you're dumb, you're not worth it, you're whatever, and you don't block those messages and you just accept that, it will go to your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind is going to believe, yeah, I'm stupid, I'm not worth it. And this is so important. And that's the importance of deciding what we do and what we put our focus and attention to, right? And that's why a lot of times, with all my respect, but people that watch crime videos, murder mystery movies, documentaries, all those things, they're subconsciously getting that information into their mind, and then they're going to be paranoid. Like, how can you go to bed when you just watch a murder mystery and heard how 15 people were killed? Like, I cannot watch those kind of things, because it's like, why would I want to put that in my mind? Okay, has it happened to you that, for instance, you're watching a movie, a horror movie, whatever it may be, or action movie, and then after that you go to bed and then you have a dream related to that movie that you were watching? Because that has happened to me a lot of times. And a lot of times I will watch a movie that I didn't like, and then I dream with them. I'm like, I'm not watching this at night, especially at night, because after you go to bed, your brain is gonna remember and recap all the things, especially that happened right after you went to bed. That was so important, that before to bed you're not using your phone and you're just like journaling or meditating, because your brain literally recycles that information and uses it into your subconscious mind. So I had a friend who loved to watch this crime, mystery, murder, whatever, a lot of things. And then she was also very anxious and always like kind of paranoid. And I'm like, you know what you're watching? Like, you know that the things that you watch matters a lot, because that's telling your brain what to believe or not to believe in, right? So it's just really important to know where you put your attention, the kind of things that you're listening to. That's one of the reasons I love to read inspirational books or listen to podcasts like this. It's because that's like feeding my brain with positive energy. So I'm like, oh my God, yes. Yeah, of course there is bad that happens in the world, but you don't have to absorb that negative energy. You can just focus your attention in something good that's going to motivate you to do something better, to be your best version, to grow. But why will you want to put that negativity in your brain, in your emotions? Just get rid of all those negative things, because you have to do that consciously. You have to decide consciously what you want or don't want, because your subconscious mind cannot decide. Your subconscious mind is just going to accept whatever you give them. Okay. So as I said before, your brain is like a programmer. It's a program. Your brain is a program. It's like a computer. It has a software and it's working. And most of the brains and most of the people, their brain works by default, because it's the program that they learned when they were little that is running their lives, right? So if you have a family who were very supportive, who were very loving and all those things, that person is going to have a pretty good future, because they're confident in themselves, they have a family that love them and all those things. However, that doesn't happen to a lot of people. So if you have a family who they did their best, but they weren't positive, they were always complaining and negative and insulting you and all those things, you are gonna grow and you're gonna live your life by that program, which is negativity, thinking that you're not worth it and all those things. And unless you make the conscious decision to change your program, you're not gonna change your life. You cannot run at 10K if you don't think you can run 1 mile. It's just not possible. Your brain, your brain, it's like a person you have to convince, right? So if you don't convince your brain to do the things that you want to do, it's not gonna do it, right? It's not gonna do it. A message saying, hey, you can do it, that's not gonna make it. You have to like believe it yourself, right? And you have to change that self-image, because if not, you're not gonna achieve anything you wanna do. So as I said before, your brain is like a program, and you are the programmer. You're the ones who put the input. As people who do coding, if anyone does coding, they know that literally they put the message in the computer, and the computer reads that message, and the computer will do whatever the person typed. The same with the brain. Is literally the same. You tell your brain, hey, do this. The brain will do it. If you don't tell the brain what to do, the brain is gonna do what it sees. And if all the time you're watching negative things, thinking of negative emotions, whatever, the brain is gonna do those things, right? So you have to direct your brain, because your brain is like out of control. You have to guide them and say, okay, let's go this way. Hey, no, let's do this, right? So you just have, and that's the beauty of everything, and that's the beauty of life, that you have the control to tell your brain what you want to do. So how you do this, right? How you program your brain, how you achieve the life you want to do, and all those things. It is very easy. It just takes a lot of dedication and persistence. The key for everything in life is repetition. Why? Because I said in the video before, in the brain we have these beautiful cells called neurons, which are like little cells that communicate between each other and tell the brain what to do, right? So the more that you repeat an action, the more that you repeat one thing, that neuron is going to send information to another neuron, and they're going to create like a bridge. So they're going to communicate easier. So if you repeat a lot of things multiple times, that bridge is going to become stronger, and thicker. So now you're going to do things repeatedly, easily, because it just becomes a habit. And that's the important of things. If you have bad habits, you're not going to achieve anything. However, if you have good habits, you're going to go anywhere you want, because you have good habits developed. So that's the thing. Recognize what traumas, whatever emotions you have. Look at your past and analyze what situation, what event, what feeling caused you to think those things. Then become aware of it and own it. Say, okay, I might feel insecure because when I was little, my mom never listened to me, or my dad never took me to a soccer practice, whatever it may be. And then say, okay, I cannot change that. It is what it is. Now, how do I develop self-worth, self-love, all those things? By creating habits that make you feel that way. So as I was saying before, one important part of self-love and self-confidence is basically on self-image. It's basically knowing your past and analyzing those traumas that you created. In psychology, we learned that kids, basically, their whole thing that they want when they're kids is attention. And that's honestly what everyone wants, right? Attention in one way or another. So when we're little kids, we're looking at our attention and approval of our parents and siblings and relatives. And when we don't get that, we're trying to do whatever it takes to get that attention. That's why you see little kids being kind of annoying, doing things, jumping around, because they want their parents to look at them. So when you neglect them, when you don't put their attention, is then it creates this lack of love that they feel. So when they grow older, they do things such as drugs or bad things because they just want the attention of their parents, right? So people, to get the attention of their parents, they can do different things, especially when they're teenagers. They can either try to be the best at sports because they want their parents to go to their games and see them. They can be really good at academics and they say, oh, look at the grade that I got, be proud of me. Or they can go the opposite way and do drugs and do illegal stuff because they want their parents to look at them, right? So it's essential to look at these patterns that we went through when we were little and recognize those things and accept that, right? Don't try to ignore that, just accept that and say, okay, I might have this coping mechanism to deal with this. It's okay. Now how you can solve it, right? So being self-aware is the key. And another thing that you have to be aware is different events that happen in your childhood that make you the person that you are. For instance, I'm a person who I like to talk and I like to give my opinion, and in my campus I'm very involved. And I believe that everyone's opinion and voice is really important. But why is that, right? So looking back, I did a little bit of self-awareness. And when I was little, when I was around 10, 11 years old, as I said before, my family was very supportive and loving and all those things. And one thing that my parents did, specifically my mom, she will go to work, and then when she came back, she may face any issues at work or things of that sort, and then she will ask all of us, my siblings and me, and she will be like, okay, what's your opinion on this situation that just happened, right? So my mom, who was 30 going to her 40s, asking me, a 10-year-old 12-year-old girl, saying what you think of this situation. What she did in that moment, without knowing it, is she gave me a voice and gave me importance, saying, although you're 10 years old, your voice matters, you are important, right? So unconsciously, because again, these things are subconsciously, like I wasn't aware of this, I grew up with the idea that my voice matters. And now that I'm 20 years old, I'm very involved, I do things, I speak up because I believe that my voice matters. However, I know another friend who is more shy, she doesn't talk that much, and she kind of is a little more, as I said, like quiet and things of that sort. But one factor that one day she told me is that when she was little, when they were like in a family reunion, she wanted to talk to the relatives that were visiting, and their grandpa will tell her, oh no, you shut up, you're a kid, like this is not, you're not part of this conversation. So her grandparent shut her down and say, you cannot speak because the adults are talking right now. They're adult, you are an adult, you're a kid, your voice doesn't matter. So subconsciously she grew up with this idea that her voice is not that important, right? And it is so key to analyze these events that happen throughout your childhood, because that literally is going to determine what person you are right now, right? And it's okay, don't have a feeling of resentment or negativity. No, it's just analyzing those things because it matters a lot. And realizing that if when you were little, maybe you didn't have that loving home, that's not your fault, right? And I think that's the first key. It's not your fault, and maybe it's not your parents' fault either, because maybe they weren't aware of what were they doing, right? So don't blame anyone, just analyze that. And that's what the first key for everything else, self-love, because we're always trying to get this recognition, this attention from other people and their love from others. And that's why sometimes we get into relationships or friendships that are not good for us, but because they're giving us attention, we keep with them because it's that attention that we're looking for, right? And this love, because no one gave it to us. So it's so important to analyze those things and have self-love, self-respect for yourself, because that's going to determine what you do in life and what kind of people you surround yourself with. A lot of things with self-image is that you have to like yourself. If you don't like yourself, no one is going to like you. And that's a lot of issues that happen with relationships, is that we try to get people to like us because we think that by having their love, we're gonna love ourselves. That's no more far from the truth. You have to learn how to love yourself, how to take care of yourself, how to enjoy yourself before you do that with anyone else. So how you do that? You have to look at yourself in the mirror and like yourself. So what do? Improve your physical health. If you don't like how you look like in the mirror, like physically, because you are too skinny or you're too overweight, lose that weight, go to the gym, look better, become strong, do those things. If you have negative thoughts, if you are just all the day complaining, read inspirational books, like literally nurture your mind with inspirational things, because your brain, you have to guide it all the time. You have to repeat and repeat and repeat the things that you want to put inside. So just read books for self-improvement. If you think you're dumb or whatever, maybe think what you like to learn about. I want to learn about finance. I want to learn about art. I want to learn about psychology, whatever maybe. And then if you're in school, hopefully you're studying what you like. But imagine that you're not in school. That's okay. Grab YouTube, look a video about whatever you want to learn, right? Because when you feel smart, when you feel healthy, when you feel pretty, you act like that, right? And then that attracts more good energy, good people, and it's just everything kind of flows, right? But if you don't like how you look, or you like yourself, you have to change that, because if not, you cannot go anywhere in life. And it's very important. I will say one of my keys for self-worth and self-love, it's that you are the only person that's going to be with you your whole life. I, thank God, have a great family, and I love them, and I'm probably watching this video and all those things, and I'm very grateful to have them, right? And they have always been supportive of me since I was little. However, the only person who's going to be with me my whole life in all the moments is going to be myself, right? Because you may have brother, sister, your parents, whatever it may be, and although you can be close with them, because I'm close with all my family, honestly, but the only person who knows 100% who I am is just me. So you have to love yourself, also respect yourself. That's so important. It is really important to respect yourself. And also, if you're with people who don't respect you, cut that relationship, cut that connection, cut that. Because self-respect and self-love is the most important things in life. Because when you see that someone is not respecting you, what will you be with that person? They're just dropping your self-worth in the ground. No. Self-respect means doing the best for you. Think of yourself as your best friend. For your best friend, you will like the best for them. You give them the best advices. You tell them what to do so they achieve their life. Think of yourself as your best friend. Just do whatever is best for you. And also another thing for self-love and self-respect and all those things is like, you are going to be with yourself your whole life. Love yourself, take care of yourself, and don't expect anything from anyone. Literally, don't expect anything from everyone. Do everything for you. Maybe your plan is to help your family or to do this. Okay, that's great, but do it because of you. Don't expect congratulations or thank you. No, just do it because of you, because you want to be your best version, and also because you only have one life. Why would you want to live a life full of negativity, at just like thinking that you're not enough, when you can literally live the opposite life, thinking, hey, I'm happy, I can, with all these challenges, I know who I am, and I know I can do it, and I know I can overcome these things, and if I don't know how to do it, I will learn to. Literally, you have the option of how you want to direct your life. And I do hope that you learn something from this video, and that you start incorporating habits in your life that are gonna make you, it's gonna make your self-image go to the roof, and you feel excited and beautiful and just intelligent, and just know that you can achieve anything in life. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else will do it. And I can guarantee you that if you cannot believe in yourself, no one else will do it. You have to be your best friend, your cheerleader, your motivator, and everything. You have to be yourself. And also try to help other people, right? And just remember that everyone that you see in life, all of them have their own insecurities, and they all have their own lives. But don't compare yourself. Like, don't compare yourself. There's a quote that says, comparison is the thief of joy. And that's completely the truth. You have your own life. You have your own challenges. So don't try to say, oh, well, this person have this and I don't. No, it's a different race. And this is not a competition. The only competition is with yourself. And to finish, as Plato said, the first and best victory is to conquer self. Okay, that's everything for today's video. I do hope that you like it. Leave your comments. I love reading all your comments. Leave your comments, subscribe, give like, all those things, and also check my other social medias. And again, you can also watch this podcast on Spotify. So if you are walking to work or whatever it may be, you can also listen to Spotify. But thank you so much, and I will see you next time.